It's some backup beef, and admittedly, beef that I'm not quite as stoked for as what was originally scheduled when Dan Ige was supposed to go up against the Wizard Ryan Hall. But Gavin Tucker steps in for Hall, who had to pull out, and this is still a fun fight. Dan 50K Ige taking on Tucker, and it should be absolutely insane. I do think Ige has a little bit, I don't want to call it an easier task ahead of him when compared to Ryan Hall, but we know the sort of challenges and the issues that the Wizard Ryan Hall will bring anyone in the UFC. And I just think that Tucker might be a little bit more manageable of a game plan and probably a better opportunity for Ige to get the dub. He's a slight favorite at minus 130. Gavin Tucker comes in at plus 100. And Gavin Tucker is someone who has a nice win streak coming into this one. I'm pretty stoked for him getting this opportunity against a pretty big name. I mean, Dan Ige has headline cards before. And Dan Ige is no tough out. I mean, this is a dude who has wins over Edson Barboza, close fight, wins over Mirsad Bektik, and just other tough wins and some cage experience with some super tough guys as well. I mean, his only losses are to Julio Arce and Calvin Kattar. So Gavin Tucker's three-fight win streak is against Billy Q, Justin James, and a recent unfortunate MEATLOCKER spoiler, Sungwoo Choi, who did impress in that fight. So that's a pretty impressive win from Tucker. The Canadian Gavin is 34, though, and Ige, the Hawaiian, is 28. Who are you going in this one? And talk to me about the odds. Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, no, I think this fight is, I mean, props to, Mr. Tucker for taking this short notice fight, for filling in. It's good for Dan Ige to keep active. And, I mean, Ike's no joke. He's a true top 3, top 5 fighter. I mean, this is going to be a true levels test for Tucker. This is a huge opportunity for him and a huge win if he can get it done. But, I mean, Danny Gay looks so good his last fight. A very competitive fight versus him and Calvin Kattar, which, Calvin Kattar's no joke. And, I mean, it just shows the level of these guys, and I don't know if Tucker's there yet, so I have to take Ige on this one. Decision. I think he's just too fast, too smart. He's been around forever, and he's just one of those high caliber, high IQ fighters, and I think he'll just get it done on the ground, on the feet, wherever it needs to go. He'll figure out a way.
Yeah, you touched on the fight IQ, and I think that's something that Dan Ige really brings to all of his fights. You can tell he's just a very smart, measured guy out there. He knows his skill set. He knows, how what he needs to do in order to get the job done, and isn't a guy who will ever try to do too much or step outside of himself. He just utilizes his strengths, and they've had success in the UFC so far. So I think it's a tall order for the governor, Gavin Tucker, in this one. They're both black belts. I'm curious to see if this one does hit the mat, what it looks like, but I tend to lean Ige there, and I tend to lean Ige sort of everywhere. Even if this fight stays on the feet, I think he's going to land a lot of nice calf kicks and just mix it up on the feet, probably get some takedowns in there. And I see Ige working a decision victory just like you do. Are you going with a decision, or do you any way that the black belt sneaks a submission, or do you like Ige by that beige decision?
Yeah, no, I mean, Tucker's legit black belt. We saw him doing his grappling his last fight. I mean, he looks great. So I could see it's kind of a stalemate, but either way, I think Ige will have the edge, either the top position or control of the situation. It will be surprising to see it on the ground because, it's very hard to tell if Tucker's way more stronger or a little more higher IQ when he's on the ground. But just knowing Ige's resume, that people he's fought and beat, it's really hard to go against him for that, and I think he's just kind of a levels test, and I don't know if Tucker is going to be able to get it done.
I'm with you, and you mentioned the size of Gavin Tucker. He is a bigger 45er, but one thing that I found fascinating about the metrics was, although Ige only has a 1-inch height advantage, he's got a 5-inch reach advantage, and so I'm curious to see if that reach plays a factor when they're on the feet and maybe somehow on the ground as well. So I'm with you. I'm going with Dan Ige. 69% of Tapology is as well. Majority of it being beige. They think decision is the most likely path, and this is a fight where Ige at minus 130, I think that's juicy value. So if you're catching these Meat Boy vids on Meat Boy Mondays, then I think now would be the time to get these bets in, because I see this line opening up a little bit. I think there's going to be a lot of late action on Dan Ige, and I think there's some decent value to start Ige off with. So something to take a look at for sure. It's a feather meat matchup. We're both going with Dan 50K Ige. Check out the other bits, Meat Boys.